2 dates
Mm-hmm.
and added some pecans sweet yogurt. That was delicious.
I bet. Mm-mm-mm. Where do the practicum images live? Dropbox. Practicum admin. Fuck, where do they live? Fuck. Outreach? No. I should have done this beforehand. Where do those fucking images live? stuff I should have had done beforehand. Okay. Let's pop over there. And okay. I need more oil, don't I? Will I be able to make it through this? Yes, because I'm only using a tiny little bit. I can squeak by, I think. So that 8 minutes was finishing preparing for a talk I'm going to give towards the end of this hour. I'm part of this residency that hasn't really met in person, and maybe never will. We'll see. And maybe I should put a little bit more in. So it's my turn to give a show and tell. That's as much as I'm going to use for today, I think. I'm only probably going to get an hour in with this shift. Goal will be to get one of these done. This one is done. That's done. I'm done with that. I don't think I'm going to really be able to make it any better. So I'll call it a day, but it's there as reference. So this is my new friend. This is my 000. Although you can see I dented it. It's all pointing one direction. Head. Great job, Michael. Come back here. Well, where's my wiling out brush? Maybe there isn't really anything at all on there. Can I use you and get a little bit out? There we go. Probably too much on that hand. Where's the dropper? Crazy? Where'd the dropper go? Oh, there you are. Okay. Oh, geez, I've got stuff on there from yesterday. That's no good. Okay. Okay. This is risky business, putting all these near my thumb. You can't see out of the frame. There's just a ton of pigments. Maybe it would be better over here. I know that's not my usual flow. Maybe it would be better. There. Okay. I think to start, this is my new 0. I think to start with you, the golden midtone. Oh, let's get a picture in here. Although I'm sort of past the picture at this point. I've done better with this one. On the chromatics, I think. put under okay. Now from there. What are you doing here? You go away. Okay. Let's go to this over here. It's kind of cream, but I want to mix it with the yellow. I want the other nose. No, not that one. Much. adjust for a little bit. Good luck at your dentist appointment. What's that? It's okay. It's just a cleaning. This is important. This is important. You need to be on. Be able to do this. Do you want to come in here with me? Do you want to come in here with me, Marks? Come on. Come on. You. Come here. No. Come. Right here. Hey. Hello. You're a good dog. Down. Down, please. No, it's not. Do you want to be in there? You really want to be in there, huh? Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Come here. Is that enough for you? How's that? How's that? How's that? There you go. This is a good dog. Here, let me actually. There you go. There you go. There you go. There you go. Test. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm just having a little bit of technical difficulties. Let me just try to get this all set up.
Aren't we all?
Oh my goodness. Okay. Waiting for Miriam to check in as well. This is fantastic. I can't believe how tiny that is.
Yeah, this is the smallest one. So my plan, actually, that's not true. There's one that's really, really tiny, but it's kind of a stunt. I don't know how I'm going to paint it. It's only 2 hours, so it's 2 square inches, um, which is just absurd. But is it 2 square hours? Maybe it's anyway. So just so you know, my plan is to present from here, and then I'm going to show my screen. Um,
Okay.
and I'm aiming for like 12 minutes
Okay.
or so, 15 minutes tops. Just I'm trying to, yeah. So um, I'm giving a talk on Sunday also that's in the same format. So I'm trying to use this just to time things out as well. And yeah, I just want to go through the whole thing continuously and then have questions.
Okay, perfect. So we'll save your questions for last.
Yep.
For for you to share your screen, I need to make you the host.
Yep.
If it's so, just be mindful as a lot of artists check in a little bit later. Just make sure you just admit them.
Yeah. Where does that show up? That shows up as a
It should,
separate little
yeah,
button, right?
it actually shows it at the bar on the bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and it just says participants. And then all you have to do is basically let them in. That's it.
Got it. And you're gonna record this, correct?
Admin all. Yeah, not until we start though, but yes.
Great. Can I get a copy of that just for reference when it's done?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah,
Super.
once it's downloaded on my Zoom app, I'll send it to you. How are you doing otherwise? How are you feeling? Do you feel like you at some point want to move into your studio space? Do you still feeling a little apprehensive? You're the only one on this call right now, by the way.
Yeah. Things are so confusing for me right now. There's so much anxiety and so many things are up in the air that I don't know if I can give you any more guidance on that right now.
Okay, when you're ready,
Um,
I'm ready.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing that's for sure is that I'm going to be out of town for August, which is something
Okay,
I've done for 10 years, so over 10 years. So we're going to be going upstate for August. So
okay,
um, that's the one thing that I do know for sure. But beyond that, there's just a lot that's uncertain.
I see. Okay,
So
and it makes sense.
yeah, I mean, I think that I mentioned to you before that I'm pretty immunocompromised, so I have to be really careful.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Totally understand. Okay, so this looks good. Your audio looks good. Your picture looks good. And you have like the most, okay, how are your hands so clean? This is gorgeous.
how do my hands? So what?
You have like the most beautiful hands.
There's a hair on there. Is there hair on there? No, I was just imagining that. Yeah, there's a hair on there. It's on the.
You wear glasses?
I do have to wear glasses now. I didn't when I was. I only started wearing glasses about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I started, I was like, I kept trying to do it, kept trying to do it, and finally now I need to wear glasses to read, or I have to zoom my computer screen settings super high.
Yeah.
Who's that you're painting?
This is Jessa Mendez, who was the first person to work with me. I'm really just trying to finish this one, which I started a year ago, but have just sort of let slip. Um, and she was one of my. She was my first student I worked with from the College of Staten Island where I teach. So the first student who worked with me.
How will teaching resume for you, do you think? Is it still basically everything we've done digital?
CUNY is expected to be fully online in the fall, or almost essentially fully online. There's a lot of politics around it. It's ultimately Cuomo's decision. So, I mean, it's Cuomo's decision of generally about all things, but remember that Cuomo appoints the chancellor of CUNY. So it's really Cuomo's decision, and he really kind of did a power play with CUNY going online in March. The chancellor apparently wanted to make the announcement like a week to 10 days earlier, and couldn't because Cuomo did Cuomo.
Okay, so I have Miriam on the call too. Miriam will be the second one. Hey Miriam, how are you? You're on mute and your video is off.
Oh no.
There you go. Okay, you're good now though.
Okay. Well, do you see me? Hi.
Yes. Hi. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
Very, very good. So Michael will go first. So how it will happen is I'm going to let Michael be the host, because by letting Michael be the host, he's able then to then share his screen. And and then when it's your turn to be the host when Michael's finished, uh, just make sure you keep a track of the participants. Some of them will ask to be added, and the host is the only one that can let you in.
Okay.
In Michael's case, he wants to save his questions for last. And then, do you have a preference for yours if you go through the slides?
I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay.
Natalie, just a reminder, my pronouns are they, them.
They, them.
Yeah. Miriam, the lighting in your camera is beautiful.
Thank you.
It's gorgeous.
I specifically organized this for this occasion.
It's I mean, as someone who also clearly organized this, but in a very different way, it's like you've done a perfect job of making it totally casual, but like beautifully composed.
Thank you. I tried. Thank you. And I also want to clarify my name. It's okay. It's not a big deal, but my name is pronounced Mariam.
Mariam.
Mariam. Yeah. It's not Miriam, but it's okay. I'm not too picky, but
Perfect.
maybe.
Okay, so if I say it wrong, then please correct me, so all of the artists can also know that too. So
Okay.
you'll know if you get to know me. I'm the worst speller and the worst at enunciation. I'm totally dyslexic when it comes to numbers as well. I always do them in reverse.
I feel like that's the case with most artists, though. That's the case with
It's
me.
crazy. Thank God I'm married to a professor who's an accountant, because he does all of my taxes. He does all of my contracts. So he's like, you missed it, and this is totally wrong.
That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna admit everyone.
Actually, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to test when I'm not used to sharing screen, so when we just have to test that really quickly later.
Perfect. Okay, I think that's easy to do. Let me just start admitting people. Nicole. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How is everybody doing today? As for those New Yorkers and those close by, the entered phase 2. So I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a haircut. I'm ready for manicure and pedicure. I'm ready to get my eyebrows threaded.
Yay. Me too.
I'll give you guys a little, let me get these other people joined in the meeting. And if everybody can hear me, I just wanted to give you guys all a couple of updates regarding silver art. So as of now, we have Wi-Fi. Our beautiful sign is at the entrance. I've started to create photo ID cards for those artists who are ready to occupy their space. As of Monday, we have 4 artists who are planning on moving in, and I'm going to be there on Monday and help with kind of like the curbside move in. So for those of you who are feeling comfortable, please, let me know. Also, what I would love to do next week is, as we have a handful of artists moving in, I'd love to schedule a Zoom call where I can actually walk every single artist through the space with my iPhone and give them a virtual tour. Many of you, I know where I'm going to place you already in your studios, and so I'd love to plan a little Zoom next week to do a virtual studio visit tour to let you guys all see what the spaces will look like, what the walls look like, and all of these kind of little logistical questions for those of you who can't see in person. Like if you want to see, for example, what the reception looks like, what our storage area looks like, so all of that I would love to do next week. It's probably, I would say, even maybe on Monday. So keep an eye out for that Zoom calendar invite, and especially for those of you who aren't in New York and who are super curious on what the spaces look like. Now the walls are up. Each studio has a desk, a chair, a lamp, and a locker. So we are ready for you when you guys are ready for us. So this week is week 13. We have Michael Mandenberg and Mariam Turkey. I know I was correct.
But I am. It's okay.
Okay, we're going to get it right at time of you. Who are going to be hosting this week's artist show and tell. So I'm going to make Michael the host, and Michael will share his screen with us, and we will start. So Michael is also requesting that all the questions that are directed during save the questions for last. Here you go. I will start recording now.
Hi everyone. I am about 50 minutes into an hour of painting. This is the project I'm working on right now. It's called Live Study. I'm painting portraits of everyone who has worked with me in my studio. This is Jessa Mendez. She was a student of mine at the College of Staten Island and was really the first person that worked with me in my studio in 2004, right when I started teaching there. And there's about 50 paintings in total. I've worked pretty extensively with apprentices in my studio over the years, and in particular early on with my students as a kind of pedagogical tool. So it became a kind of core part of my pedagogy as well as part of my practice. And I've decided to start this project a couple years ago, was when I sort of was first conceiving it as an effort to try to sort of represent that and to represent the labor, that goes into the work that we make, that is from other people, which is not everyone, but many artists end up relying on the work of assistants, specialists, consultants, and things like that. So this video, yeah, let me actually sort of say, so is being recorded with a camera. Hi, I'm Michael. My pronouns are they, them, and you're here with me in my apartment. And I wanted to point out a couple of things. So this is my the second bedroom in my apartment. I'm really, really lucky that we didn't have somebody living in here, because we often have like medium medium short-term roommates for 2 to 3 months. I wanted to show a couple of things that are in here just in terms of like show and tell. This is a fiber work that my grandmother made. Sorry, I'm having trouble aiming the the mirror. That my grandmother made in the 70s. I believe it's macrame. I know there's people on this call that can correct me on that. We fondly refer to that as my grandmother's vagina. And she was not, she was not afraid of, she would probably agree. So that's some art from friends, as well as a quilt my mother made. And in the closet, hiding there, is my dog. So I'm gonna set these aside and share my screen. So do I have any? There's no one who's trying to get in. Okay, so these all end up on the live study project is an online project of the Whitney. And they all end up here as recordings, hour-long recordings. I thought in order to sort of understand this project, I thought it would be useful to frame it in terms of, and some of the like more recent projects I've made in terms of a project I made a long time ago. This is a project called Shop Mandeburg. Which I made in 2001, which was an e-commerce site where I sold all of my possessions. Like stickers and envelopes and a notepad, my clothes, like my underwear sold really well, and bags and things like that. So this was really, in some ways, a durational performance about labor and identity. The other thing that sort of I keep doing is working within structure. So in this case, the e-commerce site becomes a structure within which I'm inserting sort of the wrong content. I'm sort of doing it wrong in a way. The work involves a lot of images and in particular found objects. These are found physical objects which I've then photographed, but I think in many cases my found objects end up becoming digital artifacts and objects, data as a found object. And it's technically sophisticated. It doesn't look that sophisticated now. It looks really dated. But at the time, it was pretty sophisticated to be able to set this up. There weren't, Etsy didn't exist. And wouldn't for 10 years, and so it's technically sophisticated, but it's really about the way these tools affect our lives. It's not about any kind of wow factor per se. And this I feel like is pretty appropriate because it's like literally it's called Michael Mandeburg Freelance Conceptual Artist. It was a sort of add-on that I added where you could there's a whole lot of adverbs you could choose from. And by my time. So flash forward 2015, I did a project called Print Wikipedia where I converted all of Wikipedia into books. There's 7,473 of them. I wrote code that converted all of the database into print-ready PDFs, and then other code that would upload it to lulu.com for print on demand. And show you some images. This is from the German version that was done in Berlin. And this is sort of what it looks like inside. People interacting. That's the Dutch version. installed in a couple of different places. I just want to get to these images. I love this. This was installed at the University of Arizona Museum, and it was a project through the museum in the library, installed directly opposite the reference texts. And just for context, here is, oh, you're gonna not play nice with me right now. Okay, fine. Here is one volume. Move you back a little bit. It is Appointment with Adventure through April 11th. It's volume 821. And it has the entry for appropriation, parentheses, art, which is, I've chosen several of them, about 10 of them that I really like based off of the entries in here and the words on the spine. And the additionally, there's sets that are based off of the words on the outsides of the spine. Let's see if I got one in here. No, I don't think so. Anyway, art is one of them. This one is, I think, sex. And I could talk more about that. My goal is to try to talk about this sort of few other things and then just let you ask a few questions to drive any further conversation. So this was a project that I started in 2009 and finished it in 2015. My projects end up being quite large and take a long time. So this is a project that I did that finished in 2016. I'll show you this view. This is in a recently vacated office space in the financial district, just off of Wall Street. I had access to, through Art and Buildings, I had access to, it's like a couple thousand square feet, to install 527 of these cast-off investment guidebooks, onto which I burned with a laser cutter the logos of all of the failed banks. And they end up with like these phrases, total money makeover and investing by the stars. And people ask me whether I carefully selected the books to go with the logos, and the answer is pretty much no. You don't have to. It's a perfect ready-made. They each produce their own meaning. With the second half of the books, I actually started to get a bunch of them that were from, these originally came from the dollar racks at the Strand, but then I started getting them from discards, library discards. So I would pair the library with the location of the bank if I could. So I realized that I didn't actually pull this one up correctly. You gonna play for me? Are you seeing this? It's not playing for me.
We're seeing it, but it's not playing.
Fascinating. Have I pissed my computer off too much with keeping too many windows open as an act of performance? Well, I'll describe what you would have seen. For 2016, as part of a LACMA Art and Technology grant, here we can scrub through it. I tracked all of my time. So you can see on the left are the screenshots every 15 minutes. photographs every 15 minutes, and on the right, reflective texts. So this spins through, like about this fast. It's really impossible to read or catch any of it. It's a 7-minute long video that repeats. This tool is a tool that's used to monitor freelance labor. This tool of taking screenshots and images to prove that the person is who they say that they are. And I let my hair grow during the performance as a reference to, as a way of marking time and also marking historical sort of citation to Teaching Say's 1-year performance clock piece, timepiece, where he punched a time clock every hour on the hour for a year, to sort of look at the way in which this is a form of, industrial labor control. So there's that. I'm going to quit you to make you maybe a little bit happier. That's one of the more recent projects that I've finished. And then I wanted to just pop over and reference 2 other things that I work on, one of which is a project called Art and Feminism. I'm one of the co-founders. It's a campaign to edit Wikipedia and sort of close the gender gap on Wikipedia. This is where we write history, and there's a huge gender gap. It's something that we've been working on since 2014 and actually making some progress on. And then that's in preview. A project called the New York Arts Practicum, which is a summer institute where I bring a dozen or so young artists from around the country to apprentice with mentor artists, and it's sort of experiential learning, structured, and we meet with people in their apartments, which is where many of them often work. This is, I wanted to throw this one in here, Zoe giving a totally wicked crit, and Pablo Helguera talking to us. So that's a sort of overview, and I wanted to sort of open it up for questions. I'm happy to talk more about anything, let you lead. Any further questions? And I realize I had a couple of other paintings that I made that are more finished, that I did better at. But whatever better means is a little unclear. So the background is typically the thing that they worked on. So my work is almost always has some sort of digital component to it. So this is, you can see, this is code. This is the code that Dan was working on. And you can even see my comment in here. Dan, your job is to go find the DOM element IDs from all the airplane websites. Like, it's like, these are the kinds of comments that are like, that you put into code, being like, go do this thing. This is what you want to do. Remember, this is it. Comment this out, whatever. And so this is literally the work that he did during the like a month and a half or 2 months that he was working with me. They're sized based off of the number of hours that they've worked. So this is 9 by 12. So he worked about 110 hours or so. And then I've asked them all for a set of images from that period to work from, and I'm sort of composite things together. And there's an underpainting. I don't know if you can see can you see the pixels in the ear? Very intentionally like a digital component to it. And I think one of the things I'm going to be working on with the next round is actually leaving more of that to show through, heavily pixelated. So does that answer your question? I don't know. I get frustrated with them. I don't feel like, I mean, It's very intentionally a study, like it's live study. It's not live learning because like it's really a process. I'm really thinking about uh, you know the undercommons as well as the ignorant schoolmaster. So um, it's process. I don't know what right will be. I just know that I will go somewhere in the process, which has sort of been the process of working, representing the process of working with them.
Critical with the data, that installation that you did, did it come long after for this collection, or was it on you for a certain period of time? Where
So brass tacks. There's each of the sets like uh, each of the sets is an edition of 5. Um, and there's a contributor appendix, which is a part of that as well. Each of like the sets apart is like 13 volumes or something like that, and BAT is like 25. Uh, the bulk of those are in the collection at Arizona State. The contributor appendix, or the first edition, the contributor appendix is at the Stedelijk, which I think is great because it means I don't have to store them. Because most of my work up to this point has mostly been, until about 2005, most of my work was, I mean, I'm doing a lot of conservation now, digital conservation, but so it's a pleasure to not have to store them. Some of them are in other collections as well, but yeah.
and then the investment books that you made, I think you said you made 527 of those.
Yeah.
You're using, of course, the corporation's brand logos and of course, making your own fantastic titles. Do you find that you come across any sort of trademark or copyright issues
No,
in that body of work?
my work involves a lot of fair use. I've gotten pretty good at knowing where the boundaries of fair use are. And I'm just going to go, I just realized I should stop my recording.